Welcome to the 70th episode. Get that 70th episode of the Sawdust Nation podcast with your hosts, myself, Nat from Nap's Naughty Works, LLC, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and Nick from MPG Creations. And joining us tonight, special guests, Mike LeGregny from @VetterWoodCo and Matt Voeltner from @Voeltner Woodworking. Not only representing themselves and their shops, but also representing the Makers Community Project. So we got a special episode for you tonight because it will be centered around that, as well as maybe a little shop talk and some extras, if we happen to get to the extras. But Nick, before we get there, give us our sponsor.
I want to just go ahead and thank PWN CNC for their continued support. Obviously, if you check out their webpage, they have plenty of aftermarket CNC items, add-ons, and dust boots, all that jazz. If you're looking for 10% off, use promo code Sawdust Nation. And next up, we want to thank Totalboat. Thank you guys. You guys rock, giving us all that good epoxy and that wonderful Halcyon varnish. Check them out at totalboat.com or @Totalboat on the big IG. Also, if you want a 10% off promo code, you're going to have to slide into our DMs at Sawdust Nation Podcast, and we will hook you up. And last but not least, Jtechphotonics, thank you so much for your continued support. Check them out, jtechphotonics.com, if you're in the market for an aftermarket diode laser. And that being said, our two guests, Mike LeGregny and Matt Voldemort. Welcome on the podcast, everybody. What's going on in your shops?
Go ahead, Matt. What's going on in your shop?
I have a mess in my shop. I have a bunch of little projects that I'm working on right now. But I'm getting ready for, the infamous cutting board season. So I'm trying to get all that. It is that season. Yep. Gonna make about 100 cutting boards probably.
All at once?
Yep.
Oh, well. So many strips,
I'm gonna pace myself. Yeah, I'll pace myself. I'll do half and half probably. Yeah.
What do you make?
I don't have as much going on as I use primarily cherry, maple, walnut. The standard stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Haven't turned the CNC on in a while, so that's sad. Watching everything that Mike's doing with his CNC.
Well, what kind of CNC you got there, by the way? We're curious.
Well, yeah, so I have a Stepcraft M1000. It's a great machine.
Fancy
It's got, yeah. So I was in the market for a CNC and somebody talked me out of getting a Shapeoko. And so I've been happy with the upgrade.
Was it someone else in this podcast?
It wasn't me.
Wait, are you out of New Jersey as well there, Matt?
No, I'm in the great country of Texas.
Oh,
so are we.
Brethren.
Represent.
You got 2 from Jersey and 3 from Texas.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah, representing
awesome.
Houston.
Oh, you're only a couple hours away. We're in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Nick, last time we
Nice.
spoke, weren't you in Jersey or you were like PCSing out of Jersey?
I don't remember if it was when you were on in May, right?
Yeah, weren't you in like Fort Dix?
March, April, May. I PCS'd in March. I left in March. Yeah.
Oh, you just got to Texas. I know your PCS was right around there because you were unpacking or packing, one of the
still
two.
Unpacking. I don't know if you guys can see behind me. It's a whole bunch of. This is now my beat laboratory, but anyway.
So am I the only non-veteran here?
Non-vet, yeah.
But it's
Y'all
like honorary
active
Texas, Texas, so it's honorary.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Automatically
Well,
inoculated.
I wore my red, white, and blue hat for you guys.
it's good.
There we go. There, we can call you almost veteran, okay? No, I'm playing. Anyway, so Mike, what do you got going on in your shop? Well, I love seeing your Instagram post, by the way. That the most
Thanks,
recent
man.
Corofoam carve was amazing.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, still working on that. I put that in a frame yesterday, and then I have to engrave a plaque for it. And that's actually, I think it's coming out to Oregon with me for the weekend. So I'm delivering it to Oregon. It's a gift for somebody who is hosting me in their race car. Remember a few months ago I went racing in July. I'm going racing again this weekend, and that's for the team owner who's a master EOD tech. So that's like a gift. And then I'm doing 2 other carves on the CNC right now. I started painting them today. I'm doing 2 24-inch wide San Bernardino patches for their PVA and their whatever they call it out there. What else I have going on? I think that's it. Yeah, that's about 2 or 3 things at once is all I can manage.
Well, I mean, on top of that, though, you run your Thursday night Vectric classes and Friday night drinking with Mike LeGregny. And what else? You got your...
We've scaled back. We've had to scale back because of some other responsibilities, but we still do. I picked back up the Zoom on Thursday because I had people asking from Facebook and from the Instagram side, and I kind of felt like I kind of owed it to Vectric because they brought me on board as a guest speaker, and then right after the event was over, I kind of scaled back because I got busy. Then it feels like, well, I don't want them to think like I'm a bad rep for the company, so I continue to run the class, and they love it, and everyone that joins the class seems to like it really a lot. And then had to scale back the drinking because of another responsibility, which we're here to talk about tonight. Friday nights are typically dinner and date night with the wife, so I can't spend too much time on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Good stuff, man. Anyway, it's great to see you guys.
Nick, why don't you tell us about your shop, dude?
Dude.
What's going on in yours?
I pulled an all-nighter last night. I was exhausted this morning when I got up and went to work. I had so some dude I know up in Jersey, by the way. He was like, "Hey, our superintendent is moving away, and he leaves on Friday, and the whole organization forgot to get him stuff." Like, you gotta be kidding me, man!
How do you forget that?
Is this like a law enforcement superintendent or school?
This is a military superintendent.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was like, "What do you want?" Because I can't do anything like elaborate. It would just have to be something simple, like literally CNC or laser etch, right? And it would have to be. And they ordered 3 different plaques for him. I got them done, finished, and whatever. I went to bed at like 3 a.m. Had everything ready to rock and roll this morning. Everything was overnighted to him, so it's in UPS right now. It was just one of them things. It's like the juice is worth the squeeze on this one because this is my continued customer, and they really have no limit on what they were willing to pay. So on those people, you kind of just want to, I don't want to say like appease them, but accommodate sometimes for things like that,
Just defer it my way next time. We'll save on shipping.
Yeah. Be like, hey,
I'm right here too.
So
we'll give you a cut.
I've actually sent people up both y'all's way before. I don't know if anything ever came of it or if they ever ordered anything, but
a while ago you sent somebody my way. I think it did work out. It was a while. It was like one of the first times we spoke. Yeah.
So like anytime someone wants something, like they'll see specific items that I know you guys make, I'll just be like, hey, you're better off going with this person because then I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and they already have it. They just have to punch it in the old computer and send it to go. But other than that, though, my shop's a mess as well, like Matt's. I've got sawdust and whatever else all over the place. Tools still laying around. I got to go down there and clean it up tonight.
Halcyon, chew, bottles, everything.
Yeah, spit bottles. No, I don't. I've got Gatorade bottles with pee in them because I'm lazy and I don't feel So
hey, you got to cut corners when you can,
right?
Time saver, efficiency.
For all you military folks, I actually have a wall locker in my garage filled to the brim with pee bottles and spit bottles. So just a little deployed nostalgia there.
Scared.
I'm totally playing though. I'm totally playing.
Is he?
Oh, and then hey, have you ever jacked up a project so bad, like in the end game, and you're like, now I got to restart and I got to ship this thing out like ASAP. Anybody ever done that?
Yep.
Yeah, I was doing that.
Every woodworker ever.
Oh.
Usually, it's where I'm at right now in this project out in the garage. Is like I cut it and then I prime it, and as I'm painting it is usually when I realize I could have been done by now if I used this instead of this. Why am I painting this by hand?
Yeah.
That's when I usually like wing it across the garage and just restart.
In his mind, it goes, it was at this time he realized.
That's it. Like, it's usually as I'm painting by hand, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I feel you. I had that happen to me last night. On top of those 3 plaques I was making, I had another one in the final stages, and I was supposed to ship today. It actually did ship today, but I also remade that. That's why I was out in the garage till the early morning. But long story short, nothing too big's going on. I got my new Beat laboratory. You guys see all the stuff behind me. It's all my household goods and the kids' toys. I'm going to have to move all that out of here and put some cool stuff like, I don't know, Sports Illustrated, swimsuit edition pictures on the wall or whatever. And
maybe a flag, like a maker-related flag or something.
I could put a Makers Community Project flag on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Nice steering. That was very
Way
nice.
to lead the horse to
Way to go,
water.
Nick.
Something
If only we had one of those available on the website.
Oh, check out.
I think
use coupon code free shipping for free shipping.
Look at Nap. He's like,
Yeah, I know somebody who ordered
Just a
one.
small
By the way,
flex.
I already know someone who ordered one. Hey, Nap, what's going on in your shop now?
dude, it never stops. Like, so I actually ended up having to put a message out there before I actually get into what's in the shop. So I put on my Facebook, like, hey, December, I take no orders because I'm taking time for family, friends, holidays. Got to do it because literally the entire year I've been busy, even on like other important holidays such as Mother's Day, even though some might not think that's important. But I have found that important enough to celebrate at least an hour or two. She wasn't too happy about that night, honestly. But no, I'm taking December off, so be restarting after the new year, which is pretty would be a pretty good break. But what's going on in the shop now? Stuff on the table here.
Is that the shop or is that a bedroom?
This is my office, but I put all this stuff in here. So I work on things in here, so it might as well be a part of the shop. But I finished this Purple Heart frame and some glass work for a customer. I got a shield with some epoxy work in the back over here that's pretty big, and it's got some other laser work on it. Doing some jobs with Nick. I'm getting ready to make some 27-inch round signs on the CNC and the laser. What's up?
You guys on the same base?
We are.
Yeah, we work in the same building.
That was my next question.
Yeah. Literally, we work together. Like he's like not even
He's in
20,
the next,
25
he's in
feet.
the next room over.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll
Hey,
bring it
Nick.
over now.
Nick.
But yeah, so he just like I tagged him about a month or two ago for his project with me. He tagged me for a project with him. So we're working on it just because my laser is just a touch bigger, but I still have to get slightly creative because it's still not big enough.
Flex.
Yeah,
Weird flex, bro.
but okay. Let's see. I've got a hat press. Go figure, another hat press for you guys on the show that don't know. It's a military training instructor. Felt press, like they have felt hats, and to keep them from warping. If you haven't seen one, Mike, but it's just they literally keep their hats flat that way. So
Mike's a Marine, bro. He knows
Hey.
what a DI is.
Listen, I know he knows what a DI is, but has he
Oh, is
seen
that
a
what
hat
it's
press?
called? They actually call it a hat press?
Yes, legitimately a hat press.
Oh, I'm thinking like, what are you going to press that?
Actually, hold on.
Making something on a hat?
I have one that's not made by me, but this is pretty
Yeah, I
much
know
what it
they are. I
is.
have no idea what they're called, yeah.
That's all it is for Matt there.
It's a fancy toilet seat. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And,
what I was
uh,
thinking. Is
you get
that
that-
like one of
when you
those
get
things
that
you bring
close.
out to the woods with you, or
it's multi-purpose, okay?
Yeah.
It's got felt all over it for your toilet.
Yeah,
Nick,
totally.
your mic cuts
Yeah,
out
what-
when you get that close.
Matt? Why does this one stink?
I didn't want brown.
Ooh.
Is
But I got that, and then
this Odies Oil?
no, it's not Odies Oil.
That's all natural, though.
I tell you what though, if my you know what smelled like Odies, I would do it. I would use it. It's awesome.
All day long.
I love Odies.
Odies
If
Oil
I-
is awesome.
Weird flex. I wish I pooped Odies oil. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Is that a flex?
I'd bottle that
I
up.
don't know.
feel
That
that's
just
a
might be
flex.
weird,
Yeah.
bro.
That's kind of a weird flex.
That's kind of like a medical issue.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
Josh, what's going on in your shop?
Nap, you done, man?
I gotta cut just a couple more things, I guess.
All
Thanks.
right, going to Josh.
All right, Josh. I guess it's your shop, bro.
Thank God. Anyway, no. Back in the shop, I'm actually doing things. Are you gonna finish, or am I just gonna talk over you?
Just go.
Okay, just want to make sure. Anyway, no, back in the shop. It's been a couple of weeks. Was sick there for a while, but knocking out some projects. I just got a 22 in for a going away present. I'll be graving on the stock of that MC53. The guy's been in for 20 years, so they bought him a gun and they want to personalize it. So I'll be getting to do that and putting his name on there as well. I just got that in today, actually. So I don't have a big laser like those. Actually, 3 of you guys. Matt, do you have a laser?
Yep. I was actually going to ask you. So somebody asked me to do a gun stock, and I was deathly afraid of screwing it up. So is that something you're concerned about? I mean,
it's actually my first. I'm always concerned with something doing a new medium like that. But I've done a lot of different types of lasers, like shovel handles and stuff like that, and had to kind of figure out, curvature and stuff like that. And
so
long story short,
he's got a bunch of shovels now.
Okay, I'm gonna go into that a little bit.
Shovels. Shipped 1 out.
Actually, no. One time I had 6. So I nailed it. The first time I nailed the entire graving. It was the entire length of the actual handle. It was not, it was straight. Nothing was wrong with it. No issues. And I sent a picture to the client, and they're like, "Man, it's beautiful." But I forgot to tell you, there's an R in that name or N. And I'm like, you're kidding, right?
Not anymore, there isn't.
Yeah, not anymore. Your new name.
So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I tried to I chiseled off just enough where you could barely notice it. And I went and I tried to, input the rest of the name. And long story short, I couldn't get the spacing right. So I had my wife, she was out and about anyway, stop. And she picked up like 3 more shovels, and just in case I messed up. And long story short, I finally got it down, got it perfect, gave it to him, but I kept the one I messed up. So I have a shovel with someone else's name and dates and like they're saying in my garage. So every time I'm out there shoveling, she starts laughing because she knows, it's the shovel I messed up.
Like a digging shovel or like a
yeah, it's just a normal shovel. I don't know the story behind it. I guess the guy liked gardening or something, and that was his going away gift.
Did anybody else pick up? Did anybody else pick up the fact that his wife bought 3? Does that say something about her confidence in your?
Well, no. To be honest, the reason why I had her buy 3 was because the shovels like you get from like Lowe's. They honestly they have nicks and stuff all over them because.
Oh yeah.
The first 2 that she got me, they were just beat to hell, and then the last one was finally good enough where I can actually present it as a decent product.
Yeah, you're not doing any rotary work. You're just keeping it confined to a small area and keeping the beam focused where it needs to be, right?
Exactly. So with the stock, it's going to be about the same thing. Actually, there's less curvature to worry about. The biggest thing is overburn. So I'm going to probably use tape for that to prevent that as much as possible, and then I'm going to use probably the same settings that I do normally.
Look at the bright side, Josh. Even if you jack this up, now you get a 22. So
yeah, I need more 22s.
There's no downside.
But I'm really hoping I nail this right off the bat because the guy lives right down the road from me, and as he's leaving, he goes, you nail this, we're going to have a lot of jobs for you because this is a really we love doing this for going away gifts. And we have other products and stuff that we would love to have you do. I introduced him to the podcast because he's starting to woodwork as well. So it was a really good, client stop by, got to introduce podcasts, got him on the Instagram community. And hopefully I'll start up something with the Marines here on base as well. So, I mean, it was worth it. And then I made something for myself. I made a little tray for my chair so I could do my computer work and stuff on there with scraps. Actually have it right here. It's pretty large, but it goes across.
It's made with shovels.
Shovel handles. As you can see, here's one shovel handle, and this is another. But these scraps are actually from Nick. When he PCS, he gave me a whole bunch of scraps, and I'm like, I'm going to glue this together and do something with it. And
I gave him that good wood when I left. Right before I left. So.
I want to call it good wood. Man, there's knots in here. It's all crooked. No.
I heard him say something about curvature.
I do appreciate it. Yeah. Definitely not straight.
It all curves to the left. Anyway.
But long story short, it's nice to get back in there. I got the shop cleaned up enough to work and knocking some stuff out. But that pretty much wraps up my side of the story, and I think the shops as well. You guys want to get into the Maker Community Project?
Yeah, please tell us what you got going on with the Makers Community Project, because we've been pushing it on the podcast, but a lot of things we're not aware of. So go ahead, guys.
So I know you guys had me on in, I guess it was March. It seems like it was just, a few months ago. The summer went by quickly.
Time's flying.
Back when we spoke about it, no, it was definitely later than March. It had to be, because shortly after was the SawStop fundraiser, which you guys all participated in because you're wearing the shirts. So that back then when we spoke about it, it was like a last minute plug in the podcast where you guys had me on just for business, just to shoot the shit. And I was like, hey, I got an idea. I want to plug it real quick. And you guys let me plug it. And that's what, turned into the SawStop fundraiser. Well, back then when it was just an idea, we kind of turned the corner, and now we're, officially a nonprofit in New Jersey. We're waiting on our tax exemption letter. We've got a team of, I think, 11 makers now. Matt is probably by far my most active teammate, and he's been a huge help in terms of like the logistics, the website, getting the voice of the mission spread across the community. That's why I invited Matt on tonight. He's a woodworker.
Are you a lawyer for real?
Going on a year and a half, 2 years.
I'm also his legal counsel.
Overruled.
So you're on a speed dial, right?
You can't say that.
Huge asset. Yep. Objection.
I noticed the emphasis there.
Speculation. Yep.
Yeah.
So back then it was just, an idea, and I gave it like a shameless plug, said this is the idea we had, and the story hasn't changed. It came from, I call him a friend, but somebody I met online who was struggling with disabilities from a motorcycle accident. And he had asked me for some help for CNC work. And then it turned into, then he needs parts for his machine because it was broken. So we donated an X-Carb to him about 2.5 years ago. And that has turned into him being more productive in his shop, which led to 2 table saw accidents. So that kind of triggered the whole SawStop thing. Was he had been asking me for a Stepcraft CNC machine because of my affiliation with the company. And meanwhile, he's in the hospital, barely holding his hand together, but he wants a Stepcraft. So I was like, you know what? That's the whole premise was, let's get this kid a SawStop, because if he doesn't have any fingers, he can't run a CNC machine. So with that movement, we kind of, we transitioned into picking a team. Matt, probably the first time you heard about this was May, I would say, May or June. I want to say these guys, most of the teammates knew about the SawStop donation, but the group and the company hadn't really been officially formed yet. And then, I guess it just came down to, enough of me talking about it, putting pen to paper and submitting the paperwork to the state, waiting to hear back, and then officially putting together a big group chat on Instagram and hand selecting a bunch of our teammates has led to where we are today. So that's where we are. We've started. We launched on October 6th. I almost lost track of what time it is. We launched on October 6th is when we launched. About 3 weeks ago, exactly 20 days ago. And in order to do the kickoff, to do our fundraiser, we're giving away a Stepcraft M1000 CNC machine. So the Maker Community Project, it consists of now 11 makers. We're doing fundraiser to raise money to help disabled makers and makers in need. We're doing that by offering a sweepstakes for a Stepcraft M1000. It's available on our website. And every day we get together, we speak on our chat, we talk about the mission, we talk about who can help. We're currently accepting nominations for potential nominees who will then receive either funds, financial assistance, and or equipment from our sponsors. I'm not getting into our sponsors. I'll let Matt get into our sponsors because I don't want to take all credit for what we're doing, but that's kind of where we're at right now. We've got some amazing makers on our team. We've already had like a small makers meetup on the East Coast at Makers Camp about 2 weeks ago. It was Keith Johnson, Ned from 513 Woodworks, Joe Schmidt from Waves of Grain, myself, and who else was there? I want to say there was a 5th person. Oh, Derek from Melbourne was there. So, and then now we're looking at our next event. We're looking at another podcast tomorrow night with a different group of guys. And then we're looking at whatever events may be coming down the road. Should be wrapping up this first fundraiser in December 6th with the Stepcraft. And then, that's it. Selecting our nominees. I'm kind of rambling. I'm trying to read the cues from Matt as I look at the camera. But I'll let Matt take over. And if Matt wants to talk about our sponsors, we've got some amazing sponsors or partners that we've teamed up with on our website. Take it from here, brother.
Yeah. So, like Mike said, he reached out to me and several other makers, and then we just kind of started having a dialogue back and forth on, where do we see this thing going? Where do we, who do we want to reach? What's the mission statement? And it was just a lot of, kind of back and forth discussion. There's obviously need out there for makers who, a lot of them, that's their way that they make an income. And so, it was a mission statement that I could definitely get behind. I wanted to definitely give more than I receive. And so I didn't expect any, form of compensation or anything like that for being part of it. I said, Mike, I'm on board. And then other people started joining the project, and all, had the same mindset of let's go ahead and do something for other people. And so then we started talking about, okay, how can we kickstart this thing? And Mike started talking about, hey, I think Stepcraft, they were one of the first early adopters to the Maker Community Project. And so we started talking about a CNC giveaway. What does that look like? And, then there's a bunch of different, legal things you got to go, through and stuff like that. And so it's been a learning experience for all of us. Just getting all of the terminology and everything else, and making sure that the website is user friendly for those who may have special needs, and just a lot of things that you and I may not think about in a daily basis, like even this podcast, or even a video on Instagram not having closed captioning and things like that. There's so many things that just eyes are wide open now to the different types of disabilities that are out there. And we're talking about and I'll get to the sponsors in a minute, but disabilities, anything from autism to blindness, deafness, amputees, stress, anxiety. I mean, all these different types of things that prevent someone from maybe having a full-time job or working in a public workplace. And so we wanted to partner with sponsors that could get behind that mission statement. And so as we started talking with a lot of the people who, Mike and I and several other of the makers in the project deal with on a daily basis or weekly basis, companies like SpecOps Tools, they were one of the, I think probably, Mike, the first company that was on board, or first or second. And Stepcraft, and then Totalboat and Tools Today, Maxiwa, Carolina, and then SurfPrep. And there's one other one that we'll hopefully get to announce here pretty soon, just working out the details. But lots of fantastic companies in the thought process behind that. And we want to make sure that each one of them supported the mission, first and foremost. And then also we wanted to look at partners who wouldn't have competing interests because, we just want to make sure that it's solely focused on the makers and not a competition between the parties involved.
Yeah. We didn't want to have, Tools Today, for example, teamed up with another manufacturer that was selling bits or saw blades, or, Stepcraft in the same partnership. And we also, hit up Bow or Scarf. And then it becomes, hey, how come they're using them for a giveaway and not us for a giveaway? So, but like Matt said, ultimately the end result of this is to make sure we're giving back to the makers in need. It's not about us. It's not about the partnerships. It's about the mission, which is going to enhance, empower, and equip the end user. So it's kind of where it comes from. I mean, the backstory's out there. I still keep in touch with this young man who's, you call him a man, he's 34, 35. We speak on a weekly basis. He's still in Colorado, still having trouble.
That whippersnapper.
But he gets by. He does get by. But like Matt said, this is the only thing he can do from his disability. He has no fine motor skills. He's in a wheelchair come noontime because he gets so fatigued cognitively that his legs don't function anymore, because that's the kind of struggles he deals with. So that's his sole income. He's got 2 kids. His wife works full time. His when the kids aren't in school, he watches them. And then whenever she's home, he's in the shop trying to make flags for the local community to sell. So, and it's heartbreaking, but if there's anything we can do, I think that Instagram, social media, celebrities aside, if we're able to use what we have, based on what we've grown ourselves organically and able to give back using the meager platform that Instagram and social media has given us. If we can empower others using that little platform, I think it's a win-win. Why else do we have this? Like, I'm not looking for paid sponsorships. Matt's not looking for paid sponsorships. That's not why we're here. We're here to share our work because we feel it's beautiful. We feel that, other people can learn from it. Hence why I do the Zoom. Hence why we did the guest speaking. If you're not sharing and giving back using the platform, and the platform's always growing. So it's like today I wake up, I have 9,000. Tomorrow I have 10,000. You're just gaining more eyes on you. So if you're not giving back, then what are you doing it for? Because it's not all about paying the bills. The bills are being paid either way, but what's the purpose of giving back or not giving back if you have the ability to? So it's kind of the idea of the purpose of the Maker Community Project is I saw a lot of makers out there with a lot of platform, with a lot of reach, and I thought it was long overdue for someone to kind of step up and be like, hey, now it's time to give back. Because you could probably think about every other industry, whether it's sports, car racing, you name it, television, every industry has some sort of nonprofit affiliated with it. I could rattle off 10 or 12 right now. How come the maker community doesn't have one? They've got millions of makers. Like, look at all the followers that some of these giant accounts have. Most of those followers are makers. How come there was nobody that stepped up and said, hey, how come there's no nonprofit to benefit? God forbid someone loses a hand, a finger, or whatever in a table saw accident. Other than insurance companies, that person's kind of sailing down the river all by himself. So that's where we are today. Matt's been the one kind of really massaging a lot of these sponsors. When I saw Matt come on the radar about a year and a half ago, initially I was very impressed with Matt's work. I was very impressed with his social media content, his ability to create content like visually using, YouTube platforms and videos on Instagram. I immediately befriended him. I said, he's going to be a huge asset. He showed me how to become an affiliate with Tools today. Like, he's walked me through so many steps in my growth, like professionally, that when I came to picking a team, it was like, he was definitely the first one on my list.
Oh, stop it.
Publicly, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
So if our listeners want to join or at least support and get in that sweepstakes, how can they do that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things happening right now, depending on when your listeners are listening to this. So right now we've got a sweepstakes going through December 6th, and that is to win a Stepcraft CNC, an M1000, just like the one I have in my shop. It's a great machine. You may wonder, how can I win such an awesome machine? The reason we are doing it to where it's purchases on the website or it's donations is it's a little bit different than your standard giveaway, right? Typically on Instagram, it's like, hey, tag 3 friends, and everybody tags their dog and, everything else. And then people just get overwhelmed by that. So we aren't growing as fast as if we would have done something like that, where it's, tag 2 or 3 people, hey, follow us. But we are making sure that we're driving toward the cause, and the cause is to get funds so that way we can go back and empower makers, right? Tagging somebody doesn't do anything to make that cause. It can get the awareness out, which can then lead to it. But so there's the 2 ways that you can enter. Well, actually, there's 3 ways you can enter for the Stepcraft CNC by December 6th. You can make a purchase on the website. So hats, shirts, banners, whatever. And the fine details are on the website, so I'll spare you that part. The second way is just a simple donation. And so again, the details are for that are there. And then we also wanted to provide a way for people who didn't have the ability to give financially. And so just writing a simple letter to the PO box that we've got listed for the Maker Community Project will also enter you in to win. So we have a few different ways to do that. And then to sweeten the deal, we partnered with SurfPrep, And we started this last week, and it'll go through the end of this week. And so what we're doing there is any donation made to the Maker Community Project on the website will go toward entering you to win a SurfPrep 3x4 sander. And you can also, we provide the way where you didn't have to make a donation, where you can also write in a letter to that same PO box. All the details are on the website, themakercommunityproject.org. Don't forget it's very important, themakercommunityproject.org.
Oh no, that's so awesome. I'm in awe of how fast you guys got this thing going. I know, when we originally spoke with Mike, like he said before, that it was just a concept really, and he was kind of dealing with the concept, and now it's full force. You have a Stepcraft CNC you're giving away. That's absolutely insanity when you look at, what is it? Not even 6 months.
No, it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it's been 3 weeks,
and we're just getting started. I mean, there's some of the sponsors that we're talking to. They're stepping up in a big way. Anything from Totalboat is one of those. Just another one that we're talking about with right now is we're talking to them about giving a. I can't give away any details right now because we're still in discussions with them, but giving away their product to the makers and matching up their product with the makers, disability or, what have you. So just matching it up, in a thoughtful way, and not just, hey, I'm going to throw some product out there to get our name. Each one of the companies that I've dealt with personally, the one that I'm dealing with currently, that I was just talking about, they're like, this matches up to our, to what we believe in. I mean, it's really what the company was founded on, is safety. And so I'm dropping hints, I don't know. So, but they're really found on safety and just making sure that you are operating in a safe manner. And so they were like, yeah, we can get behind this.
I had told Matt this. I told the whole group this. And again, I won't share the name of the partner because they're not official yet. But they called me. We had a list of like 12 companies we wanted to target. It was like target package. And it was just like email after email, shoot them out there, explaining exactly what we wanted, who we were, listing everyone on the team, listing everyone's Instagram or website on the team to show some credibility of the team. And then I had a guy call me up and he's like, hey, it's so-and-so from so-and-so. He's like, yeah, the sweepstakes is cool. He's like, anybody can do that. He's like, I want to film it. And I told Matt, I think I told you this on the chat. He's like, I want to send a camera crew. I want to film the nomination process and you guys helping who it is that you nominate. He's like, that's what we want to show. That's what our company aligns with. He's like, our company ethos is we've always been seen as the underdog. Therefore, we align with the underdog. He's like, we're looking to help the tradesmen. We're not looking to help the executive. He's like, we want to come in and help the maker level guys. He's like, that's who we target with our brands. So he's like, I'm interested in watching you guys like choose the nominee, and then I'm going to send a camera crew out and actually observe how this takes place. He's like, that's what our video wants to be about. And I was like, it's pretty cool because
that is super cool.
And it sounds cheesy, but like that show Extreme Home Makeover, like move that bus, like it sounds cheesy, but like that could potentially be where we are in a year or two, where like, we're revamping someone's shop, and hey, listen, you can't go in your shop for a couple of days because we're doing some things. And then next thing you know, it's move that bus and it's like, boom. And this guy's got a new handicap ramp and an ADA accessible workbench and, like touch-free equipment. And, the sponsors are there. We've got different representatives from every company that are there, like showing us how each piece of equipment works. Like that's the 5-10-year plan, maybe the 2-year plan if it keeps going.
That is super awesome.
The Maker Community Project get together.
Ooh, Maker Community Project.
That'll probably happen. I'm envisioning like that'll probably happen at like Workbench Con or something along those lines. Like, well, hey everyone, like I'm going to fly everybody in. We're all going to meet up, because Matt's actually coming to my house. He's from Texas. We've never met. He's a complete stranger, but he's actually flying here next week because, our first partner was SpecOps Tools. So I'll give them a plug because SpecOps is a veteran owned. veteran-owned company. The owner is Gary. Gary's a former GM of Stanley Bostitch. So prior to that, he was in the Army. Gary and I hit up on Instagram. He sent me a big thing of tools. I loved it. And then one of our teammates started getting us talking, and she said, wouldn't it be cool, other than merchandise, wouldn't it be cool if we had our own line of tools to sell? Because like eventually you're going to run out of t-shirts and hats. You're like, I don't need any more hats, but I can use a tape measure or a hammer or a set of chisels or who knows, right? Well, SpecOps is like, come on up to our factory. We're in Rhode Island. We will make you a brand of your own tools. So we're like, open arms. We're like, we'll see you guys on the 12th. So Matt's flying up on the 10th. We've got tools today, visit of tools today in a Amana factory when he lands. On the 11th, we're probably going to end up shooting over to Stepcraft because they're about like 2 hours from me. And then on the 12th, which is Friday, we're going up to Rhode Island. The 4 of us from the team on the East Coast, we're all driving out to SpecOps. We're going to sit down with the product management team, and we're going to pitch some ideas of what kind of tools that we want to host on our website. And again, proceeds go towards the mission, and they take 3% of all their profits and put them back to first responders and veterans. So it's a great company to align with.
That sounds like a great trip.
It's going to be pretty fun.
It's going to be hard to beat my first trip to New York.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be my first trip to Jersey and New York. So I'm like, I'm a Texas guy.
Matt says to me, he's like, I've never been in New York. This is like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, perfect. He's like, I've never seen Times Square. I'm like, even better. My second cousin, unbeknownst to me, dude hits me up on Instagram. He's a woodworker. Hits me up. He wants to order something. I did some work for him. I forget how we delivered or dropped it off. Never met the guy in my life. Come to find out, he's my aunt's, on my in-law side, my aunt's nephew. So he's my mother's brother's wife's nephew. So he's my second cousin. I'm like, this is really weird. He's the lieutenant in charge of Times Square NYPD. So Matt and I are getting the red carpet when Matt comes to visit New York. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Wow, man.
So question about your possible tool line here. Is there any peeks behind the curtain as to exactly what you all are going to start dabbling in possibly? Is it just going to be typical tools, custom tools? Well,
we don't know yet. I can tell you what they offer. I can't tell you what they're going to do because we haven't had the meeting yet. SpecOps makes some awesome hand tools. It sounds silly, but they sent me a stapler. They use a stapler a lot for fabric on the back of these shadow boxes. I always use staples to wrap the fabric. It's the best stapler I ever used. The hammer's really sweet. The chisels are nice. Screwdrivers are awesome. The toolbox itself, I don't own a set of punches. They sent me a set of punches. So it's all hand tools. Gary, the owner, he did tell me that he wants to develop an entire line of woodworking specific tools because he's a woodworker by trade. That's outside of the military and being the GM of Stanley. He was always been a woodworker. So in his factory where they manufacture, he also has his own shop that he prototypes and develops and then learns what to use or how to make it. He wants to make a line of tools that come in below woodpeckers, but above Empire, somewhere right in that upper middle class of tools that doesn't really exist right now. Because you're either going to have an Empire or a Stanley or a woodpeckers. It's, you're going to spend a lot or you're going to spend a little. So he's trying to come in right about there. But I can't really tell you what he's got in mind because that was a private conversation. But I can tell you what they offer, and I don't know if they're going to recolorize their tools for us, or if they're just going to laser engrave our logos. That's all, to be determined. But either way, it'll be an option for us to say, hey, if you want to enter the giveaway, you can either buy a tool, you can buy some merchandise, buy anything on our website, not limited to clothing. Now you can buy a hammer, a tape measure, and it sounds cheesy, but their tape measure is the best one I own. I own Stanley's, I own DeWalt's, I own whatever. The SpecOps tape measure is the best tape measure I own. Double-sided, extra long, glow-in-the-dark numbers, magnetic belt clip. It's awesome.
Do you suffer from the tape measures being lost in the shop all the time too? So does the SpecOps one have good cover and concealment when it's when you misplace it or you set it down?
It's SpecOps one stays on my tool belt at all times. Oh, it's it's always there.
Nice plug.
So that's pretty awesome, though. Getting that middle tier, because I'm going to tell you what, starting out, I was like, well, I don't want cheap stuff because it's going to break or fall apart if I drop it on the ground. But then if I buy this expensive stuff, now it's like, now I'm in a hole. So it's like, well,
Yeah, he's trying
right.
to develop a line that comes in below, the higher tiered stuff, but above the Home Depot low stuff.
Yeah.
There's really a void in the market right now for that.
There absolutely is. You can't find anything like that at all.
Well, gentlemen, either way this goes, whether it be tools, T-shirts, hats, Stepcraft CNCs, or sanders, we support the Makers Community Project. Our podcast supports the Makers Community Project 100%. We always talk about the community over competition. We always push people towards your web or your Instagram or your link tree to go buy T-shirts.
We appreciate that.
And all that. So we think it's very admirable the things you guys are doing, and we want to be, we want to do our part in at least funneling people towards you guys. So
anything we could do to help out. In fact, as of today, we have in our link tree, Sawdust Nation podcast, the Makers Community Project as the first link in our link tree. So if you're listening to this and you want to find it very easily, click on that. It leads right to their website. You can buy or donate to the project itself.
Or you can write to their P.O. Box.
That's right. We appreciate that. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't kind of touch back on the point of nominees, right? So the whole point of the project is to have nominees, that people who would be recipients, good recipients of what we're doing. And so if any of your listeners know anybody that is in need, please feel free to reach out to us. And go to our website, and all the information's there to read our FAQ section, look at the nomination process. But that's really what this is all about. I mean, we can raise all the money in the world, we could have all the tools in the world, right? But at the end of the day, it's about the people that we're trying to reach. And so please, don't stop at just purchasing something. Of course, we want you to do that. We want you to donate, but really just provide those nominees.
Yeah, and that goes, I've had a few people ask me, a few people have mistakenly interpreted this as a veteran organization because they attribute me with being a veteran, and then next thing you know, it's, hey, I love what you're doing for veterans. I've heard that from a few people. I have to correct them and tell them it's actually not for the veterans. It could be, because a lot of times veterans do suffer from some sort of, whether it's PTS, anxiety, you name it, right? Amputee. It could be for a veteran. So if you guys in the community, like either on base, off base, retired dudes, if you know of somebody who happens to be a veteran who's in the making community and he fits the criteria, as in he's in need, whether it's financial, emotional, he's, lacking some sort of equipment that could make his day easier, that would be a potential nominee. So again, like Matt said, we could raise all the money in the world, but if we don't have the ears and the eyes of us nominating those folks, then our mission is pointless. You can't nominate yourself. Some basic rules. You can't nominate yourself. So we've had 2 or 3 nominees so far come in through a third party, which is how the nomination process works. Likewise, we've had an additional 3 or 4 people email us directly asking how they become nominated because they are somebody with disabilities. So at that point is when, we come into play. We have to make sure we have our eyes and ears open. You see somebody on Instagram, you see somebody on base, you know somebody. And the only way this is going to happen is if we continue to share and promote the cause. So I revert back and I tell those folks, there's been 3 or 4 of them, I tell them, no, unfortunately you can't. Here's the website. What you can do is you can share it with family and friends, right? And your family and friends should know what to do with it from that point.
Yeah, and the whole point behind that is just to have some protections in there. Make sure that people just aren't nominating themselves to say, "Hey, I could use a free sander," right? We need to make sure that we vet out the nominees, and so part of the nomination process has the person who is nominating and the person who is being nominated, and we need the right to talk to both of those parties. And so we'll reach out to them and really kind of just understand the need a little bit more. And so just talking to one person, you only get one story, but getting 2 people and making sure that that the stories match up. And, honestly, if they're not related, it makes it a little bit easier. Right. But if they are, so be it. And we'll work through that process, and all that information is in the FAQ section on the website.
Outstanding.
That's awesome.
Outstanding, gentlemen. I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see how far you guys go with this.
There was another group. There was another group. I don't know who they are. I've only heard rumors through other makers when I was pitching this idea around. Matt, you may know who they are. There was a group of guys that tried to do this a couple years ago, and they raised a ton of money, and they got smashed by the IRS because they didn't opt to go through the proper channels and form a nonprofit to get a tax exemption. And the guy who was in charge at that point allegedly had to essentially fork it over. Because again, no due diligence was done. So as long as all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, the sky is the limit, as they say. So, right now we're just warming up. I'm amazed at how far the team's come. Everyone's really given their fair share. I think we've chosen a great group of makers to represent the team. People are asking us another thing we should put in there, Matt. People are asking us, how do you become a part of the team, or how do they get involved? Well, as far as the team selection goes, we're not really looking to grow the team. Imagine it small squad tactics is imagine Matt or I being the manager, or Joe being the manager. It's like, how many people can we typically manage in a chat room at one time? It gets out of control when it's 10, 15, 20 people. So we're keeping it small for a reason, because it's intimate. But if you guys did want to get involved, we are debating throwing this ambassador program around. Or my first question is to a lot of these folks who have reached out to us to say, hey, how do I get involved? How do I become part of the team? Everyone here, or everyone listening to this, is already part of the team. We're all makers, hence why we're listening to this podcast, hence why you guys are having us on. It's like we're all part of it already. The only way to get involved is to share it. If you haven't shared it, if you haven't been promoting it, then there's no reason to take it further than that conversation. First point would be share it, pay it forward. Have you supported the mission? No. Okay, why not? What happened? Now, we're not looking for a money grab here, but if you're looking to be part of the team, have you supported the mission? No. Okay, well, then step one would be to get on our radar. How do you get on our radar? By supporting our mission, by sharing our stories, by entering the sweepstakes, by nominating an individual. That's kind of how you get on our radar to be part of our team, so to speak. And that's what we're looking for. If you guys want to join the team, if you want to know more about us or how to become involved,
I'm going to put you on the spot, Mike. Yeah. I'm going to say, let's put a discount code in on the website for the Sawdust Nation podcast for 5%, 5%, because we can't take away all the proceeds, right? Let's go with 5%.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do, what do you guys like?
How about SDN5? SDN5?
All right, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to do code SDN5, 5% off at themakercommunityproject.org. That cool?
Awesome.
Yes.
Perfect.
No, that's awesome.
I'm pumped.
We do have .com. It's a redirect though. So choose your weapon.
We have that link right on our profile. So you just click the link tree and click right there, and you can use that code.
That's right. Bring money. No, I'm playing.
You can do a write-in, P.O. Box.
Yeah, guys, we're looking to raise money to help those who need it. No one here is taking home a salary. No one here is earning any money, although Matt should be compensated heavily for his website design. If you guys check out the website, that's all Matt. He did a beautiful website design. But I believe he's already, based on that website, had 3 or 4 other people ask them to build him a website. So he's
working on my retirement plan
going forward.
There you go.
Website builder. But again, if you guys do want to enter the giveaway and you're tight, then by all means, go ahead and write to our P.O. Box. If you guys need the address on the website, or if you need to email us, it's info@themakercommunityproject.org.
Josh, are we got time for questions or nah?
Oh, it depends on our guest. You guys want to wrap this up, or do you want to answer? I know there's one question I think we have to address.
No, I'm not single. I'm sorry.
Like the ladies are asking.
So let me pull that up real quick. And it was from Voeltner Woodworking. How does Matt get such an amazing beard? I think that should be addressed.
Wow. It's again, it's the Odies Oil.
Oh man.
Nicely done.
It's that halcyon from Totalboat.
Mix of both.
Got that glisten. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Odies.
There it is.
Maybe. Yeah. It's good.
So we have a couple write-ins and one voicemail. We can hit through these pretty fast. Double R Custom wrote in, what epoxy should I use for a small open knot on a cutting board? Take it away.
How small? First question. How small?
Let's say dime size. What do you say?
Type of wood.
The hard kind.
Ash.
Now it's getting complicated.
A hard piece of ash.
Yeah, you gotta use bad choice for cutting board is what I'm going to tell them.
Okay,
Fair enough.
We'll do.
Fair enough.
Go ahead, Matt.
We'll do walnut.
I'm gonna go epoxy.
Yeah.
What kind?
Well, Totalboat, of course. No, actually, it's hard because cutting boards, because they need to be a food safe option, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to probably stay away from some of the products that are widely used out there. I'm not going to name them because I might be affiliated with one or two. But yeah, I mean, I think epoxy is a fairly safe option there. But
I would say location of the knot is a big.
Yeah, it's very important.
Dead center? Are you cutting on it? Is it in a juice groove off to the side? I'm a big fan of CA glue. I like the black CA glue. If it's dark wood, pour, spray, keep building up, pour, spray, and eventually you build up a nice, solid void filler, if you want to call it. Epoxy is great too, but it just takes so much longer. And if you're dealing with something substantially that big, you should have picked a different board to make it.
You should have gone like eraser size. Eraser size, I would have said some glue and sawdust. It'd be your best option.
So I agree with both of you. But pour spray. I usually end up with my hand glued to the table at that point in time. I don't know if you guys remember that when that happened to me. I actually glued my hand to a board. I was working with the CA glue, and somehow I was leaning, and then ended up picking it up straight up Tim Allen style. So,
talk to me when you get it. Talk to me,
honey. Come
talk
help
to me
me
when you manage to get it in your mouth.
CA glue? I've gotten epoxy in my mouth before.
It's good.
Did I tell you guys about that?
Nope.
I told the rest of the guys. So I jacked up an epoxy pour, and I didn't seal the bottom of the piece, and so it was peeing all over the garage, like how it all self levels down through the drain hole, right? Anyway, so I'm trying to plug it with I've got the tuck tape, I've got silicone, I'm tearing off tape with my mouth. I've got epoxy all over my face, all over my arms. I go to bed that night. I thought I got it all. I woke up and I got up and I stuck to the covers so like I get up and they're stuck to my arms because I had so much epoxy. I was peeling white. It looked like skin, but it was just clear whatever epoxy off my arms for a week. Anyway,
anybody else want to break it to him?
Have you guys read this book yet?
I don't know what that is.
So this is
Handoff.
I gotta plug Trent Preszler here. Trent Preszler is the East Coast woodworker. He builds canoes, right? This is like the number one seller right now. It's called Little and Often, and it's about his story through life, his memoir, and within it he talks about family, friends, father, sister, and then his first canoe build, which has led him now to be a very famous canoe builder. He's in Long Island. One of his chapters is the first time he built his canoe, epoxy, right? He pull all-nighter, get all the hull pieces, right? Dripping epoxy everywhere, laid every one down, every strip down. It took him hours. And as I'm reading it, you could envision what's happening. I've seen the guy's Instagram feed, so I know exactly what he's doing as I'm reading it. And then he's like, I was so exhausted I couldn't go in the house, so I just laid down on the shop floor and fell asleep. And I woke up in the morning, I couldn't move. all of his clothes, the epoxy had dripped off and ran underneath him, and it bonded to the floor. So he had to sliver out of his jeans on the floor. And I totally believe him. If you ever meet him, he's telling the truth. But it's a great book. If you haven't read it, it's called Little and Often. And it's Trent Preszler. He's a very, very well-known woodworker and canoe builder. But that's what I had that vision while you were describing that, Nick.
Yeah. It's like you ever hear the phrase of the snowball effect?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So anyway, we got some more questions, real quick ones though. Let's see, Nap, do you have them pulled up? I've got one pulled up, but it's not a question. It's TCTMRGO says different branches of service. Who say which? Hua, hoorah, hooah, hooyah, and oorah. And that's
hoo-ha? That's my branch.
Which branch says hua? H-U-A. That's the Army, hua.
No, it's definitely not H-U-A. It's H O-A-A-H.
I've got both.
All right.
So Hurrah, I know is an Army thing.
Yeah,
Heard,
Hurrah.
understood, acknowledged.
Hua is Army.
Hoorah is what? Marine Corps or Navy?
Hoorah. It's not who. Marines oorah. It's like a ooh.
All right, then who says hoorah?
The Navy.
The Navy says that?
Yeah.
All right. Who says hooah?
Hey.
All right. What would say the Coast Guard? Maybe the Space Force. And hooyah is the SEALs, right?
Don't know.
I think the Navy
But
SEAls
it's not
say
a branch.
hooyah.
It's not a branch, though.
Yeah, well. And oorah. Mike, you're a Marine, so oorah.
Prove it.
Devil dog.
He's a Marine.
There we go. All right, so let's do the voice question now.
All right, so real quick, this one's from Dave Snyder, 74. And here's his audio question.
Here from Farm Dog Design. My question for you today is about CNCs. I'm wondering, since you all have one, do you wish you started with a bigger model, or are you happy you started with a smaller model, like, say, the X-Carve, to learn on? I appreciate the feedback. Keep up the good work, guys.
So a pretty simple question.
Thanks, Dave. First time caller, long time listener.
That's right.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take it.
I'll take
Yeah,
it. You
so-
do follow up.
Okay. I like it.
You take it. All right, I'll take it. There's actually an article that was written called "Why to Buy Your Second Machine First," and within it, the author talks about growth, expansion, and direction of where you plan on taking your new hobby. So there's a couple questions. You can't answer that. Well, I can't answer that with a blanket statement saying, yeah, definitely go bigger, your first platform because you're going to need it. Well, if you're only making model pens, we need to know what Dave's making. So what does Dave plan on doing with his CNC machine? Is he only doing cutting board flattening, or is he planning on making commercial signage? So for me, as an example, I wanted to go bigger from the get-go. The X-Carve was great for my budget at the time, but then once I started taking on those larger jobs, I needed a larger platform machine, hence the 4x8. If I was to do it again, now knowing what I do know, I would go right from the 4x8 from the get-go, eliminating some of that learning curve with the X-Carve and frustration. But I think an important factor to take into consideration for Dave is, where do you plan on going? What's your ultimate business plan? And what kind of space do you have to spare? Because that's going to take up room.
That's a good answer.
Matt.
Well, dang. I mean, what more do I have to say about that? Speaking from experience, I started with, it was a Next Wave CNC. It was the Piranha. So I think it was only like a 12 by, 14 bed on it. It was tiny.
Yeah, they're little, man.
Yeah. And so, but I thought, well, I can, just do small projects and get familiar with CNC stuff. But within a few weeks, I found its limitation. And so, it had been a number of years. I mean, I was kind of like an early adopter actually into CNC, and, it went years. And then, so finally about a year ago, I guess maybe a year and a half ago, I ended up going with the M1000. And, man, I wish I would have got that a long time ago. And by the way, you can enter to win. Nice plug. But yeah, so I ended up going with the M1000. It's been great. And now I'm seeing limitations on the size on that. But it's so I guess like what Mike said, it really depends on what the project is that you're where you see yourself going. And what I would say is, wherever you see yourself going, probably add, a little bit more to that, and stretch yourself.
Yeah, good point.
I like that. Stretch
Good
yourself.
stretching.
All right.
Don't put yourself in a hole, and don't buy.
No.
Okay, here's an extreme example. You want a 4x8 machine, right? Who doesn't? Well, Stepcraft makes a great competitive machine for a 4x8 residential setup that you can plug into any wall and it's going to work. Your first 4x8 machine that you're getting shouldn't cost $50,000, right? I know guys, the true story, came to my house, looked at the Stepcraft, his first machine ever. He's like, I love it. It's great. Turns around and goes spends $15,000 more, buys a ShopSaver Pro 408 and doesn't know what to do with it. So again, where do you plan on going with the machine? What size footprint of the machine do you need? What are your power requirements? How often are you going to run it? Are you going to use it for a business? Because if so, you have to calculate how fast you can pay that machine off. But I'll talk about this all night. Anyway, like Matt said, go a little bit bigger, definitely want room to grow, but don't plan on, I've made this joke today. We have one of our members in the chat, Shane, who does Shane's Hardwoods. Shane's Hardwood is his name. He makes inlay cutting boards. Shane just got a 5x10 3-phase Laguna CNC machine with vacuum table delivered to his house today. So he went from a 4x4, but still it was a 2-phase strong machine. Like this thing could have cut through a car. And he went to a 5x10. And jokingly, I said, Shane, your entire neighborhood is going to flicker when you power this thing.
Yeah.
It's huge. But all he does is make cutting boards, Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can probably make a lot of cutting boards.
Make a ton of cutting boards.
Make a big cutting board.
What do you guys think up there, Nap and Josh?
Honestly, where I started, I didn't even know I was going to be where I was at, so I wasn't sure what machine to get. The only reason why I'd even gotten into CNC to begin with was because of a guy named Ron Childress. He's actually out in North Carolina and a medically retired Marine with PTSD and whatnot, and he got me into CNC with the Shapeoko. Now, mind you, my Shapeoko is, we'll just say, upgraded immensely from the base model, because I had the XXL. I ended up adding the extrusion bed, the spindle, and all this craziness on it. And now I'm looking at, and not because you guys are on here, but I literally put it in my cart, I think every other week, but a Stepcraft. When I move to my next base, which is in May 2022, I'm looking to actually get the Q408 machine with the vacuum bed just built out, because my business is fairly successful now. And between helping other makers and doing this and that and getting my name out there, it seems to be the move I'm going to make here in the near future. So,
Nat, did you know that I'm a rep for Stepcraft?
I do know
knew
this,
that was coming.
but
now.
I do now.
You better take that out of your cart.
So,
Yeah.
got to pay my mortgage somehow.
Hey, listen, I'm going to say one thing, Mike, and the one thing I will honestly take to the grave and however long it takes me to be as a maker is that I will never take without giving back. Because I know you've said it in the previous episode, the very early on, was when people reach out to you and they just want something from you. They don't get to know you. They don't ever.
We have a name for that.
Yeah.
You remember the name I used?
Honestly, I don't. What's the name?
Leech.
It is a leech. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a bag.
There was that one. Yeah.
Also, I try not to use those words against our guidelines on the Make Community Project.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was about ready to call him out on it. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys have bylaws?
We do.
Yep.
I'm
gonna need to get the HOA.
You want to see them? They're right here.
But seriously,
right here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's what it is.
There you go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, leeches.
No, I was just messing with you. I think we're good.
They don't greet you, and they just.
So we can say bag or no?
But
And there's Nick.
What about you,
I
Josh?
can't do nothing
What
about
was
it.
your answer to that question?
So I think you got to really evaluate where you are, where you want to go. Because in the beginning, when I started woodworking, CNC, yeah, it looked nice. I would like one, but I had no idea where my business was going to go. And when I bought mine, I think it was a perfect fit because it's the perfect amount of space for what I'm doing here and now. And it fits in my garage. Anything bigger, I just wouldn't be able to fit in there, and then takes up more space. Would I have liked to Stepcraft right away? Yeah, but I A, didn't have the funds, and B, I didn't know how much I'd be using that CNC. So kind of wrapping everyone's answer into one, if you can afford it and you foresee you using it, enough to pay it off or at least justify the cost, go ahead, buy one step up. If you can't see where your business or where you're going to be going with it and you want desperately a CNC, buy something you can afford, learn it, and go from there. Because I and Nick, we've talked about this before, Nap as well. You can go on Marketplace right now and there's CNCs galore, especially X-Carves and stuff like that you could just buy for pretty cheap because someone bought it because it was a toy to them. And they used it once or twice, realized it's not for them, and that's it. So really have to take a deep look and deep dive into the future of your hobby / business and kind of do the research and make sure budget wise it fits. Because, 2 years ago, I would have thought I had a CNC, a Glow Forge, another laser doing the podcast. So I mean, it really depends on where you are in your journey. So, I mean, it's basically, I think, what we're all saying for the most part.
That's not what I'm saying.
But, yeah.
What are you saying, Nick?
I'm saying
you're going to go
take
go
out
home.
that title loan, baby. Go get yourself a Stepcraft. No, I'm
Cry once, buy once, right?
Well, it's funny you say that, Nick. I have a buddy that just did that, actually, whose name will not be spoken, they took out a loan to use it for a child, and then they naturally conceived, so they didn't need the loan. So he bought a big machine, and it gets used about once every 2 weeks, and it usually results in something bad happening because you got to use it often. And it's more of a frustration now because he has this giant machine which is taking up too much room that he's not using. And then when he does fire it up, it's like, why did it do that? And I'm like,
yeah.
Exactly.
If you don't use it, you lose it, man.
Honestly speaking, though, I've always subscribed to buy the biggest and best tool that your pocketbook can sustain or you can afford for that moment. That's assuming that you are going to, make with it and it's not a hobby. I mean, if you have the money, sure. If you're just a rich dude and you want to spend like 30 G's, go ahead, buy a Stepcraft with a vacuum table and all that stuff and let it sit. Who cares, right? But if you're like us, what's that?
$24,600.
Well, with the vacuum pump and all that stuff too.
Vacuum pumps, that's an outside vendor. They don't sell the vacuum pump inside the house, so that's another.
Oh, all right, I got you. But what I'm saying, everything together.
We're splitting hairs at this
at
point.
Around 30K. All right, we're okay. Regardless, if you got the money and it's disposable income and you don't care, fine, whatever, do it. But if you are like us and you need to look at the ROI and all that other stuff and make sure it's worth your while. But yeah. If you're looking to get a machine that's that in depth and that professional, then buy the one that's the best one you can afford at the time. That's what I'm going with. Anyway, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks. I'll be here all week.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up, man. Do you guys want to say any last thing about the Makers Community Project at all before we start wrapping it up?
Sure, guys.
I was the first one that pointed. So.
Yeah. I was waiting for your point. This is a movement that we started that's for makers by makers. It's the first of its kind that we know of. If I'm wrong, then correct me. The only way we're going to succeed by helping other makers is by everyone sharing. That's the only way this works. Like, we have to have people growing underneath us to share, to grow, to raise funds, to give back. The only way we're successful is by sharing. We have to promote the mission. We have to tell our friends and family. We get to share it to Facebook. It sounds cheesy, but it's the only way this is going to work is by getting eyes on it and ears on it every day. That's really the ultimate goal for us to succeed. The ultimate goal is for us to succeed, but how do we get there is by growth. Thanks, guys. I just want to thank you for having us on.
Hey, we love having you.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything that Mike said, I mean, just, getting out there and nominating people, who are a good match for the organization. And then going out and sharing it, that really does go a long way. If you're not able to contribute, just hitting that share button, sharing it with your friends and family, and just getting the word out. I think that will be a phenomenal uptick for us. Just kind of get our name out there, because we really do. We're not pulling money in for this project, devoting countless hours. Mike and I are on the phone, basically every day talking about this, and so it's because we believe in it, and we want you guys to believe in it too, and so we just share that's kind of like our biggest thing at this point, just to get off the ground.
It's one more thing, like it sounds cheesy because it's very cliche and it sounds very kind-hearted, but like our mission is to empower makers with disabilities and or makers with crisis and or hardship. Well, part of that is any of us, out of the 5, any of us tomorrow or tonight could be in a situation that would require assistance that your insurance company or your family or your friends couldn't provide for. So don't think in the now, think in the what if you guys are considering donating or considering our mission or considering like passing our mission forward and sharing it. Is anybody like could walk into our garage tomorrow, trip and fall, cut our finger, cut our hand, get hurt at work. You're not going to give up the hobby. You're just going to have to adapt to your new challenges. So that's kind of like this mission could potentially, the money you're putting into this project, this organization could potentially come back and help you one day.
Well, with that, Nick, do you want to take us out with sponsors?
We want to give one final thank you to PWN CNC for all their continued support and for making this episode possible. So check them out, pwncnc.com. If you have a CNC machine, or even if you don't, there's plenty of items on Daniel's website that could benefit you in your shop. So check them out. For 10% off, use Sawdust promo code Sawdust Nation. And next, Totalboat, thank you for your continued support. We love you guys. We use your products all the time. And if you're looking for that epoxy experience, hopefully not the nightmare epoxy experience like I said before, but if you're looking for that or a good varnish or anything like a wood filler, Totalboat has it all. Check them out, totalboat.com. If you want a promo code, 10% off promo code, slide into our DMs at Sawdust Nation Podcast, and we will give you a promo code. And lastly, Jtechphotonics, thank you so much for your continued support. Check them out, jtechphotonics.com, and you can go ahead and purchase your very own diode laser for whatever CNC platform you have. And lastly, our patrons, you guys are awesome. We love you. And next week is going to be our first of the month live, and we're going to do some giveaways. So please show up. You got to be present to win, though. So patrons get extra entries into our giveaways. That's going to be on a Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday the 2nd. And I feel like I don't like announcing when we're going to have people on the podcast because typically you just never know if something's going to come up. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We're going to have Red Raven Woodworks on. That's his name, right? Eric Pennington. He turns a lot of cool stuff on his lathes. He's got multiple lathes. So if you want, show up to the live event. He'll be live, and you can ask him whatever questions you want. But with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Josh, and he's going to tell you how you can get a hold of us.
Yeah, so we got a few Instagram accounts and the Makers Community Project that you can get a hold of. You can get a hold of Mike from Venom Wood Co. You can get a hold of Matt from Voeltner Woodworking on his Instagram. We have Nat from Nap's Naughty Works LLC, Nick from MPG Creations, and myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and the Sawdust Nation podcast Instagram account as well. But I really want to mention, again, you can reach the Makers Community Project in our bio. Go ahead and click the first link on the link tree and go right to their website. I know that Mike from Better Wood Co. also has it in his, and I'm assuming Matt has it in his as well. So there's multiple ways to go ahead and click on that link and help support that project. With that, if you would like to do a voicemail, send us pictures of your most current project, you can go ahead and do that on our Gmail account at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I'm going to toss it over to Nap.
Yeah, so thanks for the toss, and I'll catch that real quick. But hey, if you were catching this podcast on the Apple Podcast, go ahead and give us 5 stars. If for some reason you didn't like the podcast and give us anything less than 5 stars, let us know what we need to do to reach your needs, because at the end of the day, we're here for you. Needs. That's all right. About your needs. But just like we've said over and over, this is community over competition. And to be completely honest with you, we got the 5 stars on the paper. Thank you, Mike, for those 5 stars on the paper podcast there. Appreciate that. But this is community over competition. And the only way the community gets stronger is if you give us what you need. You got to give us the information. If we don't know what you need, then we can't give
Not that shirt, Matt. That's the website shirt.
Oh.
Mike and Matt, what do you guys got? Any final words for the folks? Outro.
Well, I will say I just checked out the PWN CNC website right now, and there's some pretty nice stuff on there. So you guys got a good supporter there.
As did I. It's open in my browser as we speak.
Yeah. Thank you guys
Yeah,
for
appreciate
having
it.
us on.
Been great.
We appreciate you, being big supporters of the Maker Community Project, being, supporters of what we are about. And, just thank you, your listeners, for going out there and using that promo code. And link is in the description. And so, yeah, we appreciate it.
Nap, what do you got to say?
At the end of the day, we take care of each other. That's why we're such a strong community. If you ever need anything, reach out to us. Reach out to anybody, really anybody that's out there. I mean, the maker community is huge. But yeah, just take care of each other.
All right.
Hoo-ha.
I just want to let everybody know that hoo-ha. That's right. That's the Makers Community Project greeting of the day, right? If you walk in and everybody's like hoo-ha, and we all stand up and say hoo-ha back. But hey, Mike, Matt, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to deal with you guys. Super professional and super good at what you do. And if you're listening, take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, NPG Creations out.
Thank you for tuning in for this week's podcast. Thank you to our special guests and what they're doing for the community, because from the beginning, we did the podcast for the community, help you guys out and give back as much as we can. Now we can support a cause that does the same. So turn us on in the kitchen, when you're outside in the yard, in the workshop, in the bedroom. We love whispering in your ears. And go make some sawdust. And Sawdust Nation, out.
Yeah, we can't get this right. We suck at
Good
this.
job, Nick.
Hey, so I like being turned on in the bedroom. Sometimes in the backyard, depends on what's going on.
Well, the garage is the best. Sawdust.